And now you're telling me someone who decides that they did want to do something upon their own life is now feeling threatening to you, to where you have to go, Kid Rock,
and shoot up cases of Bud Light.
Cases.
It's ridiculous. Yeah.
How stupid. I don't think they understood how stupid they thought that was making a statement. But you just looked wasteful, and you looked like you were, it was almost like, it just reminded me of like hate crimes, right? That's what hate crimes look like. Like, that's
it was just
the
like
point
not
right
thoughtful.
before. Yeah, that's the point right before you do something drastic. And for you to go out there with an actual, like a gun, we're already battling, let's go.
Gun, yeah.
We are already battling gun issues. And you take a gun because you hate what they did so much that you're shooting up a brand. Welcome to another episode of Odd Pairing. I am your co-host, Natasha, and I am with my other co-host today, Paige.
Good afternoon.
We're here.
Yeah.
How was your Mother's Day?
It was fantastic. It was probably one of the best I've had. Just a quality family day with my boys, doing what they love, seeing them thrive, and being a mom.
Yeah. That's good.
How was yours?
I did a resort pass.
Cool.
Yeah, because one of my friends, she always does them. And so she was like, we should do a resort pass. So we went to Seabird down in Oceanside.
How was it?
It was as good as they could do it. So let's just say I got a free pass for the next time.
Oh. All right.
So yeah, because, I want to give them a second chance.
Of course.
That's how I am.
Yeah.
I don't.
Chances are.
Yeah, I don't bash you until you hurt me the second time.
There you go. Yeah.
If you do this again under different circumstances, then
I'll give you another try.
Right. Then I'm like, don't go there. But as of right now, they have a great facility. It was Mother's Day, so it was a lot of people
busy
there.
Day.
Yeah, it was 3,000 kids in the pool and 2,000 in the hot tub.
Ew.
So we did not get to swim or warm up. Because it was funny because in the morning, when I first walked out my door, sun bright, shining, I got into Oceanside and it just gloomed up super fast. And I didn't realize it because I had my shades on. And I was like, is it me or is it? I took my shades, I was like, oh shit, it's really gloomy.
It's still gloomy.
And it got hella cold.
It did. Even like inland, it got like all of a sudden.
I was super disappointed at that. So that didn't add to the experience, But I'm giving them another chance. And I'll tell you about this
on a non-family weekend.
On a non-family weekend. Matter of fact, it's going to be in the middle of the week.
Yeah. That sounds ideal.
Yeah, it's going to be in the middle of the week.
And not during summer when there's heavy tourist season.
Right.
Yeah.
So
you got some time.
Yeah. So, I mean, her and I, we had good quality time while we were there. So that part made it, like worthwhile. So, yeah, that's what I did.
I was hoping to hear that, like, Sherlock got you something.
Never. Let me tell you something. If he would have, this is the scenario I can imagine in my mind. Armando gives Sherlock something to give me to be cute, and he rips it up.
Oh,
I can see that happening.
Yeah.
So yeah, we just, from the heart, I know deep down inside, he really wants to get me something, but he's not capable of handing it to me like a proper dog.
No, definitely not. He needs to age a few more years.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. And I thought that at 2 years old, he would be okay, but.
More mature.
Whew, it's a struggle. I don't know what it's like raising kids, but I think I have a slight just look into the future. And I said, you know what? I want my kids to just be kids. Like, even if they're a little bad, I still want to be kids.
Yeah.
and God was like, I'm gonna show you a little bit through your dog. See if you
yeah.
really want that.
Do you like that? Can you handle it? Can you handle it?
Yeah. So that's how my Mother's Day went. But yeah.
Very good.
Yeah. So today we are going to be talking about we're going to talk about some controversy that's going on. And before we get into that, let's talk about what we're drinking. We always got to do what we drinking, okay?
While I'm drinking.
Right. So what do you have?
I have a Carl Strauss Aurora Hoppy Alice IPA. They are an original San Diego craft brewery, kind of like kicked off the scene here in San Diego. So they've been around since 1989. And this is a nice, just true West Coast style IPA, true to style. It won a World Beer Cup medal last year.
Oh.
Which is like a huge success for an IPA category. There's like over 400 plus entries, and they won and they placed in the top 3. So if you're out there, grab one of these Aurora Hoppy Alice to get a really good West Coast IPA.
Yeah, and the can is fabulous.
Yeah.
I love that can.
Isn't it cool?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. So I am on a cleanse. So I am drinking what is it called? Bundaberg, and this is the peach flavor. I told him to give me a ginger beer, but he got me this, so.
Oh yeah, they do have ginger and they have blood orange. They have a bunch of flavors. They're all
this peaches.
Peachy.
That's good.
Peachy.
It is peachy.
Just peachy.
Yep. So I'm going a little, non-alcoholic today, but I'll be back at it again. The next episode.
The cleanse isn't that long.
Right. Yep. Next episode, I'll be back at it again. So I want to talk about a lot of the controversy that's going on. And when I asked you earlier about like where we should go in direction of the episode, this was such a great, I don't even know why I didn't even think to like go in this direction, but it's such a great topic to talk about. The whole Bud Light issue with the trans person doing Bud Light marketing and the Bud Light community going
ape shit.
I mean, that's exactly it.
Yeah.
And the worst way. And it also they thought that they were trying to be forward thinkers and were backward thinkers.
Yeah, I don't know. It's wild what's going on. And it's been going on for several weeks now.
Yeah.
And it doesn't seem to be subsiding. And I think that's the thing that makes it so interesting. It wasn't like a one week type of controversy.
Right.
Like Bud Light is continuing to see like a decline in their sales. And, that's huge to have that type of impact on that size of a company.
Yeah. Yeah. I saw some viral videos as I was doing my research. And I saw one for Fenway Park where the Bud Light line was empty. And the other line was 3 miles long.
Yeah.
People was like, I don't care if I'm standing in line the entire game. I'm not drinking Bud Light.
For what?
When you was just drinking it yesterday. And now all of a sudden it's nasty because they had marketing.
Yeah, they partnered with someone.
In the trans community.
Yeah. Yeah, it's wild.
So I want to take it back a little bit because right now with social media, we get to see how people react to these things, right? And I think about when the first Black person was on a major company. The first Asian person was on a major company. And that was such a big deal then that people just kind of like hush whispered it in their homes. And they probably boycotted like in the town, but it didn't widespread
Well, communication wasn't as prevalent.
Exactly.
Right? There wasn't a way to, we weren't as interconnected to have things go viral in the way that they do now.
And so even though those companies at the time were probably losing a lot as well, but it's this catch-all that's happening with, I probably didn't feel any type of way about Budweiser until I saw how other people felt about it. And I think that that's the part that's the most disturbing to me.
Yeah.
It's like, you don't even...
Like that ripple effect of like, oh, everyone else is doing this and everyone else thinks this way.
Like, people think that supporting some marketing about, basically is about diversion, it's about diversity, equity, and inclusion. That's basically that's the basic thing about it. And we already know how people feel about that.
Yeah, people are scared of it.
People are terrified.
Yeah.
When we're calling it something different, when before it was called civil rights.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah.
They're just calling it, they have a more fancy term for it now in terms of let's diversify.
To be more inclusive.
To be more inclusive.
Yeah.
And instead, people have taken it to where they are, oh no, what? It's a new word out here. It's a new concept. No, it's the same concept. We just gave it a fancier name. And the only reason why we gave it a fancier name is because civil rights or human rights make y'all cringe a little bit. And I don't understand it.
Me neither.
At all. So, today, I'm gonna do a lot of reading today. I just want y'all to know, because I did a little research and I needed to kind of dive deep in what is the connection, the sociology of this and the psychology of this. That's the part that's getting me, right? So we're going to be exploring the intriguing intersection of marketing trends and inclusivity, with a specific focus on Bud Light's recent marketing ad, that featured a trans person. As the adult beverage industry continues to adapt to changing consumer preferences, brands are embracing new approaches to connect with diverse audiences. Because who is Bud Light originally? Audience. White male, looking at women in bikinis, or want to see a Clydesdale go.
Don't forget the Dalmatian.
Right. Or with Budweiser, what was it, the frogs? They just wanted to see those particular things, and how dare we now include everyone? How dare we do that? So, we're going to be talking about all of this groundbreaking stuff in terms of how companies, especially how it's kind of coming over into the adult beverage industry, of what other companies have been doing in TV shows and movies. Everybody has been doing anyway.
Yeah.
It's like now everyone's kind of jumping, I don't want to say bandwagon, but it is kind of a bandwagon. Because it's like once something goes viral or is trendy, people jump on it.
Yep.
Because I know with TikTok, right? TikTok is known to make things go viral. You put a sound on there, you put a clip from a movie or something, and it just goes everywhere. And so now I've been noticing that a lot of commercials, like Burger King or Geico, that you'll start hearing them use TikTok sounds.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
You see all of that now. It's coming
clearly
into
not on
these,
TikTok.
It's coming into these bigger brands.
Wow.
And it's because they're realizing that because it's basically, how do I get to the millennials and Gen Zs?
Right, because they're not watching TV.
At all.
At
all.
So they're not listening to the radio. The accessibility to those generations, I think, is really challenging.
Yeah.
For companies with traditional marketing.
And so I think that with coming into play of how we've now taking these trendy, items or sounds or whatever, and we're starting to now incorporate them into people's daily lives. People love when it's just at that surface level, but they are very upset now at when it gets deeper.
Yeah.
And I think that piece of it is disturbing as we're in we're still in the 21st century. As we're in the 21st century, it's very disturbing that people are pretty much like, no, make America great again.
Right. Yeah.
What do you mean? Because the great America that y'all talking about was
only great for
a
select
very
group.
select demographic of people. And so for Bud Light to say, okay, marketing team, we need to bring in we want to reach all. So we know right now.
We need to expand our consumer base.
Yes. Period.
Yeah. Because beer in general is declining. And so you need to expand your consumer base somehow, reach new markets, be inclusive of people who aren't traditionally your customer, and figure out how to educate and bring those people in to buy your product.
Exactly.
And how do you do that?
You get with the trends.
Yeah.
Basically.
Exactly.
Yeah. You get with what's coming. You show basically
you go to them versus them coming to you.
Exactly. Because you can't get us anymore with putting an American flag on a can, and I'm excited about it.
Right.
It needs, because especially with millennial and Gen Zs, we're looking for the story.
Who are you? Value-driven consumers. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
We buy and support brands based on like company values and ethos and like all of those things. And if they don't align, then we're probably not buying that product. And we're a big force.
Huge. Huge. Because the demographic that was buying it at that age, what's the ones before millennials? Gen X?
Gen X.
I think. Yeah. Gen X is at the point where they almost are now trying to go in a more healthier route. So they can pound back your Bud Lights and Millers and Budweisers anymore because their doctor says, you keep it up, you're going to see Jesus
it's not
really
good for
soon.
Your health.
You're going to see Jesus really soon. So now they're trying to come in and now go for the younger generation, but also changing, which I commend them for doing that, for bringing in and doing something controversial. Yes, it cost them, unfortunately, and it shouldn't have cost them.
Right.
It should not have cost them.
Well, and the thing is, like, it wasn't a giant or large campaign. You know, it wasn't like a nationwide, I don't know. It seemed like it was this, they were reaching out and partnering with someone that could help engage a new audience that they weren't already reaching, right? And that was the purpose of them in that partnership. But it wasn't like a Super Bowl commercial,
right?
Or something that had like, I don't know. It just seemed like.
I hope they do a Super Bowl commercial.
I hope they double down.
Me too. I really do, because like, if we have to keep pounding it until it becomes acceptable. And let me backtrack just for a second, because I'm gonna backtrack and then double down again. I need people to understand backtracking for it real quick is when we have put different diversity groups to represent these companies, you have to keep going in order for it to be acceptable. This doesn't mean
to stay.
Yeah. This doesn't mean like people are using it. They thinking that they're being groomed in some way, and people don't understand. Or brainwashed. And they don't understand what those particular words actually are, right? Grooming is where someone is pretty much almost kind of like lovely forcing you to do something, right? In terms of it's like an aspect of brainwashing but to let you know that this is what you need, right? The best groomers in the world, and this is probably, I don't really care how y'all take this, but the best groomers in the world from a forensic psychologist standpoint are sex offenders, right? They groom kids to get to where they are. That's grooming, okay? Bud Light, having a trans person wasn't grooming me. I'm still not drinking it, but I still like that they did that. Like, that makes the company more like credible to me, because now I know that you guys are reaching out beyond your scope of the white male who wants to see
girls in bikinis
and a damn horse go across the screen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So now I'm like, okay, I kind of like this. I like this where we're going. So the double down piece of it for me is that they should continue to do it, because you're going to have to get used to it. Just like you got used to seeing Black people on the screen, just like you got used to seeing Asians on the screen, just like you got used to seeing Hispanics on the screen, you got to get used to it. And it's not a grooming aspect, but it's letting people know we're out here. Not me, I'm not. We're out here. You need to know that this is our reality. Just because I'm not in the forefront doesn't mean that I'm not here.
That I don't exist.
That I don't exist.
That my reality doesn't exist. Yeah.
And that's what they're trying to do in terms of the LGBTQRS community and then the trans community. People are now like, no. They have to stay over in the background. And I'm like, why?
Right.
Why? How you raise your kids at home, and this is, I've said this many times on this podcast, how you raise your kids at home is what you're grooming. That's your grooming part, is for you to have it at home. The inclusivity of what everyone is trying to do is now them saying, we're here and we're out here.
Yeah.
See us and hear us.
Disappointing part is that I know that there were marketing executives for Bud Light that were put on leave after all of this. So as much as we want to see them double down on it, like, you had people go on leave because of it.
And that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
So let's talk about how Bud Light doing this is basically the importance of staying relevant and appealing to diverse audiences in the competitive beverage industry. But let's talk about how other companies have done this in the negative and the positive.
Yeah.
So we got the negative for where people are standing their ground on, I'm not supporting that. And I get it. I also get it. Because we've gotten to the point where people are now, you can't speak your mind, but you got freedom of speech. It's the weirdest shit ever. Right? So we got, we have the controversy that happened with Chick-fil-A when they came out and they was like, we don't support that.
Yeah.
They chicken's still good.
The waffle fries.
Chicken was raised by Jesus himself. Nobody can beat those nuggets, okay? They come out and they had their opinion and stood their ground on that, right? And then we have the positive side, to where during the BLM movement, which was not a political run, it was a social change. I'm gonna need y'all to correct that. Not a political run, because nobody was running for president off of BLM. I'm gonna need y'all to change the political. It's a social change aspect of it, just like civil rights was. And these companies, all these emails were coming out with, we support Black Lives Matter and like all of these things. And it kind of made me feel, now when I hear this saddened part about the trans person and the backlash that they're getting off of that, I'm also looking at it like none of these companies fell when they was doing the Black Lives Matter movement, right? because it was such a political thing everybody thought was, that I don't remember, Old Navy going down. I don't remember Nike going down. I don't remember Adidas going down for it. I don't remember any of these big brands going down. So, and that was dealing with Black people who've been the America's most hated since literally the beginning, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, okay, so we're moving in the right direction. Like, people were still mad, right? You still had the people that was out there that was mad. But I think that people are not connecting how the two make sense and are together, right? Because we're talking about diversity.
Mm-hmm.
With these companies coming out and they're speaking and they're saying, okay, Black lives do matter. What's happening is unfortunate, right? Mm-hmm. Let's keep it to let you guys know we're supporting the Black community. Bud Light did the same thing, but with trans people.
Right.
And for some reason, I never thought I would see the day that there's a diverse group of people that's more hated than Black people. I never would have thought I would have seen that day.
Right.
And that is so unfortunate. Because I'm like, whoa, y'all are really taking this too far now. Like,
there
y'all
always has to be an other,
Always.
Yeah.
Always. And I was like, wait a minute.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't mind if a Black person living in the Deep South did an ad for this, but a white trans person, that's the part that was getting me. White trans person couldn't be accepted, canceled the whole brand.
Right.
I was like, what?
Well, maybe it has to do with the lack of, obviously, the lack of understanding and education around the trans community in general. When you go back to the civil rights movement, like, there's been years of education and social change, and so if you
and we're still fighting for education,
still
critical race theory,
still fighting, but there's more acceptance around that type of change because it's been being worked towards for so much longer. And I think for some people, like, the trans and gay community is like a newer concept, a newer thing that they're trying to learn or not learn, and they just don't understand and comprehend it. And that's why it's more, I don't know, upsetting to them because they don't have that understanding. Like, I'm just, that's the only thing I can think of, is that it is because it's like, I don't want to say newer because it's not.
It's not new.
It's not new. But as far as it being something that people are publicly talking about, or it's like on the news all the time, or it's on, like, it's this newer concept, I guess, or more mainstream now, that is, maybe it has to do with the timeline aspect.
Yeah. Because it is coming to, and I think it goes back to the point of, like, I think people fighting for rights in this day and age is still astronomically unacceptable to me. And so when they started saying, wait, I think people are discriminating against us in these particular ways, right? And so they said that we have rights as well, just because I'm doing something different or something that you don't like and you should mind your business about.
Right.
That's my whole thing. You should mind your business. So they're doing this thing. They're now saying, wait, we have rights. We should be in commercials. We should be on TV. We should be in movies.
We're human beings.
Yeah. We want people to know that this is a reality. This is a real life thing. And
we're in your communities too. We're not all in one place. We're in everybody's communities. We're living it's not, they've been in hiding. Or they've been forced to.
Yeah.
And
they still want to hide them.
Yeah.
They still want to hide them. You're not going to drink my beer.
I guess I just don't understand where the fear comes from.
I don't either. That part I am still, and I dare for someone to come in, please, because I want to hear it. I dare you to come into our comments and tell us what the fear, if you're one of those people who have the fear. I want to hear it. I want to know what that fear is.
And if
Because I
it's
do
not
have a
fear, then
level.
where is the adverse feeling coming from?
Because then you got to explain yourself.
Right. And so it's not like, because I really don't understand what
I don't either.
Yeah, I don't want to say intimidation. Like, what is it that is so threatening or so beyond comprehension that you can't see a human being for a human being?
If you're living your life and minding your business, then you're not worried about, especially if they're not harming anyone. That's when you stop minding your business, is when you start seeing people harm people, right?
Yeah.
That's the reason why we step in when going back to a sex offender, when a sex offender is now grooming.
Right.
And even for them to live in your neighborhood, they still have to send out a letter that they're there.
Right.
That they live in a neighborhood. No one's with pitchforks or anything outside their neighborhood, outside their door, or any of that stuff, right? So just as much as you want to have that inclusion, because that's inclusion, you still can, integrate with society, even though you've done this thing. And now you're telling me someone who decides that they did want to do something upon their own life is now feeling threatening to you, to where you have to go, Kid Rock,
and shoot up cases of Bud Light.
Cases.
It's ridiculous. Yeah.
How stupid. I don't think they understood how stupid they thought they was making a statement. But you just looked wasteful, and you looked like it was almost like, it just reminded me of like hate crimes, right? That's what hate crimes look like. Like, that's
it was just like
point
not
right
thoughtful.
before. Yeah, that's the point right before you do something drastic. And for you to go out there with an actual, like a gun, we're already battling. Let's go.
Gun. Yeah.
We are already battling gun issues, and you take a gun because you hate what they did so much that you're shooting up a brand, and then people follow suit.
Yeah.
Like when Kanye did the whole thing with the Jewish debacle, and then people was out there burning their Yeezys. Do you know how much them shoes cost? Every time I look, and I be like, I'm gonna give me a pair of Yeezys. And I look at the price, I be like, maybe somebody got to buy me a pair of Yeezys, because I don't think I'm gonna get them. And to know that you're out there burning up clothes and shoes, because of something someone said. Once again, going back, shut your mouth, but you still got freedom of speech. How do I talk through tight lips? How do I talk through tight lips?
North County Daily Star is the leading source for news and community information along the 78 corridor. It's free to subscribe, and it is updated daily. Look for us on your mobile device or computer at ncdailystar.com.
Let me back up. Some things shouldn't be said. Say that at your own house, because I catch you outside getting these hands. If I get you outside saying it, you getting these hands. Some things keep to yourself. You can still say it, just not in my presence, right? So the same thing in terms of when someone is coming with knowledge, facts, diversity. We want to shut that up too? I don't understand.
It's just progress. Stopping progress.
Like the whole Florida governor, all the stuff he's doing, he's pretty much taking it back. If you really look at it, he's like, I am going to subtly take this back to the original Constitution. All of those amendments y'all had put it, throw that out.
Revised.
Yeah. We're not doing that here in Florida.
We're going to go back to version 1.
Because that made America great again, was version 1. Right? Not version 365, but version 1. And that's what my man is doing. He's stripping it all down until it gets down to the bare bone basics of it.
But that's happening across the country.
It is.
It's not unique to Florida.
And it's the same thing this is what I'm seeing with the controversy with the Bud Light.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think it's so interesting that
in terms of natural human behavior, what they think should be natural human behavior.
Beer. Like, it's beer. It's this social drink that brings people together to, I don't know, like that's the common denominator is the product to bring different parts of the community together and the audio. And it was, beer is becoming divisive. Like, when has beer or when has alcohol been a thing that brings divisiveness in a community? Like, I feel like it's almost like a first in that, like, this, it's just, I feel like it's just the social and political environment that we're in as a country. It's like, even beer has sides.
And that's wild.
And that's, I think, the craziest part. Like, yeah, you can take social issues and value-based issues and things like that, and you can like, okay, yeah, there are sides because but beer, a beverage, now beverages have to have sides too. Like, what? Yeah.
That's exactly what it is.
That's the part that's like mind-boggling to me, in that, yeah, there's a good side and a bad side of beer now. Like, the beverage that brought people together and developed countries and developed all sorts of, and it like created ideas and
overnight.
And literally overnight, all of a sudden a beverage is divisive.
It's the drink of trans people now.
But is it?
That's what they made it out to be. It's not, because that's the part that makes it to where the beverage now has a side, right? Because once again, who is it for? Who is the clientele?
Right.
White male looking for girls in bikinis.
Yeah.
How dare you put something else in the bikini?
There you go. Maybe that's what they're offended by.
She didn't even have on a bikini. It was a whole like cute little dress and just a couple of cans on the table. Saying
no, that's what I mean. It wasn't a giant marketing campaign that had hundreds of thousands of dollars behind it and all this other stuff. It was just literally trying to engage a new demographic and a new audience through a brand. And why is that so offensive?
It is to them. Enough for them to shoot up cans. Yeah. So, I like that this is celebrated. This is what I like about how when Bud Light partnered with her and allowing this commercial to happen. So it celebrates diversity, it fosters inclusivity, and challenge social norms by showcasing a gathering where people from different backgrounds can come together to enjoy life's moments, period.
Yeah.
That's what it's about. It's not about who's drinking it, who's marketing for it. It just shows it in different places.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, that's it.
I guess, yeah, again, like you said, if someone wants to try to explain,
I need to hear it.
Let's hear it, because I really don't understand it.
And I commend them for stepping out. I know that we heard that like some people had to take leave because of it. That's wild. Because you probably get death threats and like all this other kind of stuff. So you had to go home. That's wild that your job wasn't safe anymore. That you had to go to the house.
Or that you were reprimanded.
For doing it.
I don't know if the exact reasons, but it's like they were put on leave, the people who were involved in this influencer campaign. And it's like, was it because they weren't safe, or was it because they had caused so much turmoil within the company? They're like, okay, you guys need to get out of here and we need to regroup. Like, were they in trouble for doing what they did?
Right. And it would
because if those people are the ones on leave, then the campaigns aren't going to keep going.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
That outreach isn't going to keep going.
Man. I mean, so of course I read that there, like I saw a lot of different positive feedback too, because I was like, let me get out of the negative space and let me see like what the positive feedback was.
Yeah.
So many of the viewers applaud Bud Light's like inclusivity and representation of transgender individuals in an ad. The positive response came from the diverse audience, of course, including members of the LGBTQ plus community and their allies.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Okay. Supporters praised Bud Light for taking a progressive stance, like you said, promoting acceptance and showcasing diversity in their advertising. This positive feedback contributed to a brand image among those who value inclusivity.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yes. So it was some people, as much as we see shooting up cans and not standing no lines, as much as we see that.
Well, those videos went viral. That's why. They contributed to that messaging.
Yeah. And so, you know, we got to see that there were people who, because it was a large group of people who also was like, yes, do it again.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And the criticism and the backlash, despite the positive reputation Bud Light's ad also faced criticism and backlash. Some critics accuse the brand of tokenism.
What is that?
Like having a token.
Oh, tokenism. Okay.
Like they're the one, right? And opportunism, suggesting that the inclusion of a trans person was merely a marketing ploy to generate attention and gain social approval.
So essentially that they were using, it was an inauthentic campaign.
When they was being the most authentic. Isn't that wild?
Mm-hmm.
They was being the most authentic of themselves to show that we are now DEI. And look at us, including people.
Yeah.
And they was like, y'all being fucking fake. What?
You're using a trans person?
You're being fake. These critics expressed skepticism about the brand's true commitment to diversity and questioned the authenticity of their message. Such criticisms raised concerns about the potential impact on the brand's image among those who view the ad as disingenuous or insincere.
Mm.
What? So they tried to have an educational way of saying, we don't want that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How dare you force that on me? I don't give a shit what society got
going
on right now.
But it wasn't being forced on them because it wasn't a national campaign. It was with an influencer on an account that had followers and reaching that audience.
Yep.
It wasn't reaching the broad national audience. It was a targeted audience through the influencer.
Mm-hmm.
And because people saw it, however they did, and then reacted, that's what blew it up.
Oh, yeah.
Not the initial campaign.
Oh, yeah.
Or the initial, here's some Bud Light, talk about Bud Light. You know, like that was the introduction to the brand, to a community. That's not the offensive part. It was like the backlash is what made it a problem.
Yeah. And this is my thing. I think that Bud Light, with them putting people on leave, really this was the time to show the real diversity and inclusion was to stand in the front of it and talk about it. This is why we did it. Just because y'all acting like this is the reason why. It needs to be more of this.
Well, I guess they're not seeing new consumers as a result of the campaign, right?
Maybe I should drink one on air just so y'all know that.
You need to go buy an 18-pack of Bud Light.
What's it, 24-pack?
I don't know. I like 18, 24. How many are in there? Go buy one, support them because they're like 26% down. That's
a significant
that
amount.
is a lot.
Yeah.
And it's declining.
Yeah.
And so they're not seeing anybody come in and, I don't know.
And for someone as
fill that
big as
void.
Bud Light to have to fall from grace, do you think that the smaller ones are going to do it now? No. No.
I don't know. The small craft breweries, I think that they are more in touch with their community and their values and who they are because they don't have national distribution and shareholders and there aren't these giant conglomerates that are like internet, like they have the ability to cater to their community and their customer and like have conversations, and the customer has a much stronger and better way to understand that brand because it's in their neighborhood. That like who, and I think that's part of the reason that craft beer was so successful with millennials in the first place is because there was that bridge between values and the stories and the connection.
Yep.
And so I think that craft breweries, if they share those values of supporting the trans community, and I think that they won't have any problem communicating that to their customers.
Yeah.
I don't think they're afraid. I think they double down on it.
Yep, that's a good point. That is, because that's something that they have the end to kind of just do it a lot quicker to get it in the forefront, basically, than the bigger brands do. Yeah. Yeah. Because they don't have to worry about Kid Rock shooting up their cans or bottles.
Unless it's in like Michigan or wherever he lives or something.
Right.
Unless it's I don't know. I don't know where he lives. I'm sorry, Michigan, if he doesn't live there, but
right.
I don't know.
Yeah, and I want to kind of just talk about like the future of it, right? We bring in right now talking about like how the smaller brands can start getting in front of it and start putting it out there to where when they do become bigger, it's already something that their fans have already seen. Like we're not like distraught about it or anything because we're like, yeah, they I mean, it's ran by a trans person. What is outrage?
Right.
And so when it comes to that, and I think that people have labeled big brands that's been out for a very long time as though they can't pivot. They can't do any future marketing. They can't do any of that. And so when they do it, it's like this shocker and everybody's taken aback and thrown that this brand, like, when did y'all start doing that?
Right. You're not supposed to do that.
Right. And so that's when, some of those people who have the criticism and the backlash saying, that doesn't look authentic to me. But when did we stop letting people change their mind? When did that stop happening? Because if we could change our mind, a brand can change their mind too. They can say, let's pivot and move in this direction. When did that become unauthentic to what it was?
Right.
Of them being able to say, I want to include this. I want this to be, part of our brand.
Well, I think that's why small brands are much more nimble.
Yeah.
They have the ability to do that and then communicate that change with their customers or, the new routes that they're taking or their new values in a much, because they are a much smaller operation. But when you're a large company and you have different perspectives, across the country that you're trying, and you have numbers that you're trying to reach, there's just different objectives when your company gets to a certain size. And it's really unfortunate that, like you're saying, they should still have the ability to change or not necessarily, I wouldn't even say change, but
expand.
Because it's not like they were anti-trans before and then all of a sudden they're like, oh, here's this trans person. See, we are inclusive or whatever.
Right.
It was more of oh, let's expand our audience and see if we can reach new consumers and blah, blah, blah. And so it wasn't this drastic change, but for some of their consumers, obviously, they had a concept and an identity for that brand
Yes.
that brand itself may not have had, but it was in enough consumers' brains that it offended them that they tried to divert from what their understanding of the brand was.
Because if the brand is representing this, they represent the brand. Now I'm representing that. So that means that all the Bud Light T-shirts I have now means that I support the trans community.
Right.
When you're supporting the beer.
Right.
Period.
Right. Yeah.
So I kind of like, speaking on Bud Light taking that stance and using influencers to market things. And I'm saying this as a future big time influencer ourselves, I like that they allow different influencers to kind of reach out to their community to say that, hey, you guys should try this or you guys should try that because we tried it and we love it.
Right.
And so I think that them doing that was such a great future marketing way of doing it because like we said, millennials and Gen Zs aren't watching commercials anymore. I'm watching my commercials on Instagram and TikTok. Right? If it doesn't come on Instagram and TikTok, I ain't seen it.
100%.
If I haven't seen it, right? So, or if it doesn't come in my my free Hulu package that I have from Verizon, I ain't seen it. Other than that, so I think I love this new way of marketing. Unfortunately, it's now taking a more political turn to it when it shouldn't. It's a social change and not a political. Keep that in mind. Not political, it's a social change.
But I don't think like right now where we're at, like I think it's very hard for people to separate. You're either on one side or you're on the other. Like there is no middle ground apparently.
None.
Which is really scary.
I can watch a gay or lesbian couple on a movie and not flinch. And all of a sudden somebody come out the Raptors and just be like, and just go, oh, you are a lefty. You are liberal. Because you stand this. And I'm like, I just like this movie.
Yeah.
Why does that make me like on the side? I don't think y'all know
that relationship in the movie does not impact me as a person in that way. I'm not intimidated by it.
Because I'm looking at them as humans, two humans that are in love, that has no impact on my daily life.
Did you watch The Last of Us?
Yeah.
That episode 3 with Nick Offerman?
Loved it.
Oh.
Didn't know that man could be so soft.
My God.
Didn't know it.
My God. I have not bawled my eyes out like that. I don't even know.
Yeah.
But that wasn't about a gay couple.
No.
It was about the human connection between two human beings and love. Like that's what it was. It had nothing, like it made it more impactful because we really hadn't seen that type of relationship in that way. But it was like one of the most beautiful episodes or shows that I have ever seen. And it really had nothing to do with them as a gay couple at all.
No.
It was just this beautiful, authentic, genuine love that was, I don't know, beyond powerful.
Yeah, because it was a soul connection that they had. That's what the real thing was. It was a soul connection that they had. And people who looked at that in a very controversial way saw the human side of it and didn't think about what the soul was doing.
Right.
In terms of that connection, right?
Yeah.
So when I hear people take it outside of what the context is, it saddens me.
Yeah.
Like to my core. Because I'm like, I mean, I deal with it all the time. I'm in an interracial relationship. It's me and a Mexican. Doing our thing, living our life, right? And just knowing that when we're out and about, people are just, it's just strange. It's the strangest looks and like all that. And I told I remember when it was once when Armando was saying something about like, oh, like I don't like the way that somebody said when I told them I was married to a Black woman or whatever. And I said, man, if you can't handle just that little piece, don't take your ass down south. Because they still haven't fully accepted it. Fully, like they tolerate it is what I would say, but not really accepted it.
Yeah.
So when I see that things like that are happening and people are not looking at that, I connected with him. I wasn't looking for
It wasn't a
specific
surface
color.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a soul connection with
It was a bond. Yeah.
and that was it.
Yeah.
This is just meat stuff
But
we're
why
living
is
in.
that? Why is someone else's connection with another human being offensive or intimidating to someone else?
And I don't get it. I have no idea.
That's where I like.
Come in the comments.
Where does that come from?
Yeah.
Because going back to the Bud Light thing, it's like,
where's the harmness in that?
yeah. With
Where
this
is it being
person
harmed?
being a human being and having a soul and having a truth and
liking Bud Light.
And liking Bud Light, a common product that brings people together.
That they was buying. They was snatching it off the shelf anyway, and now all of a sudden you mad because you see it? You see them buying it?
Yeah.
You wanted them to just Uber Eats and DoorDash it in private?
Right. Keep them in the dark. That's what they wanted.
So, yeah. I love that they took on that social responsibility and then having that diverse change. Whoever it was, commend you. High five from here. Because I hope that more big companies stand up to it. So then that what's going on with Bud Light.
But I think
can
like
be the norm.
because of the reaction, big companies are afraid of doing it.
Yeah.
Which is really unfortunate and really
very
sad.
Unfortunate. Yeah.
Because there is that community and the allies that would support those companies in doing it. But the backlash can be so serious because of the way that our media covers the stories.
Oh, don't they twist it?
That it turns into something it shouldn't be. And should have never been.
Should have never been. It should have never been a big deal like that. But it was. And I'm kind of glad it was because I need more people to wake up.
I was going to say, what about the whole woke, like de-woke? What was that?
Yeah, it said something about, like they want Bud Light to be de-woke.
De-woke.
Stab me in the face. What? De-woke?
And there's just like these like trigger terms that they like put in stories that say, if it says woke, then, well, this side, it's definitely not going to support anything that has woke in it.
When
it's like, wait, let's hear the rest of the story first or hear the.
And woke is a term meaning learning.
Yeah.
Is now revealed to you.
But
that's all it means.
But it's been demonized.
Yes.
And if you believe in that part.
We know what culture started it.
We do. Yeah.
It was Black people. So of course it was demonized. Oh no, you're not going to wake me up. You want me to sleep, sir?
I want to stay asleep. That's been way more beneficial.
What?
No, I think it's really sad that, like you're saying, it being educated or trying to learn new things and trying to expand your understanding of the world is a bad thing. And why?
That's why they don't want history books, because they want to de-woke these kids.
Oh my God.
They want to de-woke the kids. That's why they don't want them to know the real history of America. The real history of these other countries. Of what how they all started.
Crazy that like every state has like different history books.
Yeah.
I like, what do you mean? Like,
When I lived in...
How is that possible?
When I went to school in Louisiana, they had a class that you take in high school called Louisiana Purchase. History. Just about Louisiana. The whole Louisiana Purchase that went all the way up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just it.
Mm-hmm.
Just one class. Like, you had to take it to know the history.
Yeah.
I know more history about Louisiana than any state.
Well, I mean, being raised in California, like I think it was in 4th grade, we had to it was all about California missions.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope it's changed, but when I was learning about it, it was like, oh, the Spaniards came and they helped the Native Americans, and that's not what happened.
Slaughtered them.
Yeah. We brought disease, we killed them, we put them into slavery, they built these really beautiful missions, and now everybody go do a report on it.
Yeah.
Like, that was not what was communicated.
No. Same thing with slavery.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing.
Yes.
They were whistling in the fields, enjoying themselves, singing great hymns.
Oh, yeah. What was that Disney movie? What was the Disney movie? Zippity-doo-dah,
Yeah.
zippity.
Yeah. Yeah.
They were not singing zippity-doo-dah, that's for sure.
They were communicating. That's why they were singing this beautiful music, is because they were communicating on how to free themselves because they weren't allowed to speak.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah.
History books.
History books is very, I'm always going to be a person that is for them. And no matter what, I think that everybody around each table at home should have a history from each type of like different cultures in the United States, because we're so blended. You need to know about all of these.
Yeah. Or question what you are learning and be like, oh, is that? And encourage children to question what they're learning. What? Did the Native Americans think that was okay? No, absolutely not.
Right.
I didn't start learning about that until I was in college. It was like, oh, here's this alternative history book with this other perspective. And it was like, oh, there are different ways that history books are written.
Yeah.
And we're not all getting the same ones. And no wonder there's different perspectives and understandings across the entire country.
Your daddy didn't have a friend like my daddy had. He didn't care about none of them history books. He was telling the truth. He was telling the truth. He'll see you in there studying and you just like learning from the, you writing your little report on the Native Americans. Yeah, you writing your little report. And he's like, let me tell you what to really put in there. And I'm like, I'm not gonna get an F. Come on.
Right. I need to pass the class.
I gotta put what they got in here.
That's not in the book. He's like, it's in this one.
But at a very young age, I knew that all of that stuff wasn't true. So, and it made me a more well-rounded person too, to know the actual history to it. But it also made me not trust the authenticity of what this country was putting out.
Yeah.
Because then it made me question everything at that point. Like, is that how it started? Is that how that company started? Like, to know how Louis Vuitton started and all of that, I was like, wait,
I don't know that.
Oh, girl. Yeah, we're gonna talk about that another time. Yeah, that blew me back.
Oh.
I'm scared to buy a purse now. But anyway, yeah. So if we want to encourage you guys to keep thinking like outside of what these marketing trends are doing. And what are your thoughts on it? We want to know. And like I said, please answer those other questions we have in terms of what is the big deal? Why is it disturbing? Why is it so intimidating? Please comment, because we want to know. And I think we should follow up.
Well, I was going to say, it's not in a combative way of like, come defend yourself. It's more of like,
what is the fear there?
An eagerness to understand another opinion.
Yeah. Because I definitely want to.
Because
I want to understand.
We are, aligned in this topic and perspective. And so, but it's important, like you said, it's important for you to hear the other side.
Yeah.
Because there may be something that we're not seeing or not understanding, and everyone's perspective matters.
Yeah.
There is.
That's true.
It's everyone,
Freedom
like
of
you
speech.
said, everyone has a voice.
Everybody.
And everybody has the ability to express themselves. So
let freedom of speech continue to be free.
Yeah.
without being rude.
Yeah, don't be rude.
Don't be rude.
Don't be rude.
Don't be rude. Because we're not reading it if it's rude.
No.
I can let you know that right now. But thanks, everyone.
Not happening.
Exactly. Thank you, everyone, for watching and continuing to watch us. We really appreciate these views. We do. And until next time, this is Odd Pairing.
Signing out. Cheers.
Is it empty?
It is not. It will be.
Oh. Thanks for listening and watching Odd Pairing. So please subscribe, like, rate,
and comment with your favorite drinking stories and curiosities about adult beverages. Cheers.
I'm going to happy hour. Who's driving?
I'm gonna walk.